Balanced Life with Julie, holistic nutritionist and certified health coach. So this week I want to continue having a conversation about gut health, but more specifically about gut health and autoimmune conditions. A lot of people don't realize how much their autoimmune condition is actually linked to poor gut health. And I know this was the case for me. I'll speak about my own experience. I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism back in 2014, and none of the doctors or the naturopaths I went to really talked to me about gut health or what I was eating and how it might be contributing to the symptoms that I was experiencing. And it was only when I came out of nutrition school and I really started to look at my own diet more critically that I realized that I hadn't ever really thought about gut health. I thought I was doing pretty well. I thought I was eating pretty healthy and clean. But what I realized was that I wasn't paying attention to some pretty important fundamentals when it comes to gut health. And so you have to remember that 80% of your immune system is housed in your gut. So when your gut health is not on point, it's going to inevitably affect your immune system and contribute towards an autoimmune condition. So what we have seen in the last, I would say probably since the 80s, is a real rise in autoimmune conditions because of poor diet, poor lifestyle, right? And so what you want to be doing is really looking critically at what you're eating. So in my experience, what I was doing was I was eating certain things that were contributing to the symptoms that I was experiencing. And when I stopped consuming those things and I really focused in on detoxifying my gut, all of my symptoms related to my autoimmune condition went away. So what was I consuming? Well, I wasn't doing it all the time, but I was having alcohol, I was having some processed foods, some processed sugar in my diet. And I'm always a little bit amused when people say, well, moderation is key, right? Unfortunately, when it comes to your gut doesn't care for moderation at all. If you're having foods that don't feed the microbes in your gut and they actually feed microbes that are causing imbalances in your gut, then that's going to create imbalance in your body. So, all it comes down to is, what do the microbes in your gut like to eat? They like to eat plant foods. They like to eat plant fibers. And so the more processed your diet is, the more meat and dairy there is in your diet, the more chemicals there are in your diet, the more you're harming your gut. And inevitably, that's going to start to impact your immune health, and it may potentially lead to an autoimmune condition. So, and I have seen not only with myself, but with clients and even with friends who, as soon as they tackled their diet and they started changing the fuel that they were putting in their body and started feeding those healthy microbes in their gut, they started to see reversal of symptoms. I know for myself personally, I don't even know if I can say that I have an autoimmune condition because I don't experience any of the symptoms that I had previously. Previously, I had brain fog, I had a lot of chronic aches and pains, I had depression, anxiety, I had all of these really troublesome symptoms, and now all of those symptoms are gone, right? I feel good in my body, I have lots of energy, I'm mentally clear, and so can I really say that I have that illness? I'm not on medication, I managed to get myself off medication, my numbers in terms of my blood work are amazing, and so you want to look really, really critically at what you're eating. And I understand that we live in a culture and a society that encourages us to make poor nutrition choices and poor lifestyle choices. But those choices don't really reward you when it comes to health. And so if you do have an autoimmune condition, it's time to really look at what you're eating. The other key component of handling autoimmune conditions is detoxification of the gut. All of these chemicals that we have in our environment and in our food system that we don't bat an eye at, we just put them into our body, not even thinking about the impact. It's definitely having an impact. So it's really, really important to make sure that you're detoxifying your gut on a daily basis. Personally, I use a gut support called Biomedic that removes chemical toxins, heavy metals, and if there is any damage to the lining of the gut, it repairs the lining of my gut. I was actually also diagnosed with leaky gut back in 2016. And so I do that on a daily basis as a preventative measure, so that if I do inadvertently eat something that isn't organic, or maybe I'm breathing in air that has certain toxic chemicals that I'm not even aware of, none of it is hanging out in my body. Now, of course, every situation is different, and I know for myself when I'm working with a client, I have very specific questions in terms of what their diet is, what their lifestyle is, their sleep patterns, as well as whatever chemicals they might be exposed to. And in a program, we would be addressing all of those pieces to give them a more holistic perspective of how to get their health on track. But for you listening, and watching, I would say, like, really look at what you're eating and how many chemicals you're exposed to on a daily basis, and how that might be impacting your health, especially if you're dealing with an autoimmune condition. If you're dealing with an autoimmune condition, that is a clear sign from your body that things are way out of balance. And I want to encourage you to actually look into bringing your body back into balance. It's totally possible. If you have any questions, you can of course always reach out to me, and we will continue this conversation around gut health in the days and weeks to come. I'm going to have an upcoming webinar talking specifically about gut health as well. So yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Share this video with anyone who needs to hear this information, and until next time, be well.